So, welcome everybody to the first in our new speaker series, our new Canadian Women in Mining speaker series. We're trying this out this year, so if you've got any feedback at the end, please let us know. And we also have a couple more people coming tomorrow and Friday. But for today, we've got Chloe Yao and we've got Sakai Mizuki, who's going to be moderating the conversation. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat. You can ask them directly in the chat to the whole group, only to Sakai, or you can also ask them in the Q&A, and then we'll address them at the end of the conversation. And the panel today is going to be recorded, and we're going to place it on YouTube so that you can reference it later on. And so without further ado, I'm going to give the floor over to Sakai and Chloe.
All right. Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate you putting this together. We're just chatting here before Melanie let everyone in, getting to know each other a little bit, myself and Chloe. And Melanie asked me last week to, if I'd be interested in participating and helping out with the moderation for this. And this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. As we're talking, one similarity that Chloe and I have is that we're both technically new Canadians. It sounds like Chloe might be a little bit newer than me, but I was born and raised somewhere else, and I came to Canada and I had to kind of adapt from my culture to this culture and all kinds of different things. So I'm really passionate and interested on this topic and hearing from other folks who have walked this journey, because it's a unique journey. It's an exciting one. I've enjoyed it. But it is always interesting to hear other people's stories, how they got here, why they love it here, and what they're up to in their careers. So I'm really, really excited for this conversation on a personal level, Chloe, to hear what you have to say. And I'm hoping that this time together will be kind of like educational and inspiring for everyone else who's on the call. So I'm going to get right into it. As you've noticed, I didn't actually take time to introduce Chloe because I do want her to do that herself. So we're going to start the conversation right off the bat. I'm going to introduce myself first for anyone who doesn't know me. My name is Sakai, and I am one of the board members here with Women in Mining Canada, and it is my great pleasure today to be your moderator. So, Chloe, I'm going to let you introduce yourself as our first kind of kickoff of this conversation. Please tell us about yourself. Who is Chloe? How did you find yourself here? Yeah, just a quick rundown. What are you up to today? What's your day job? And what's your kind of point of origin? The place that raised you before you came to Canada. All right.
Yes, for sure, definitely. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Melanie, for organizing this, and thank you, Sakai, for moderating the conversation. I came to Canada 2014 for my undergrad degree. I went to University of Alberta for chemical engineering, and until this year, I've been living in Canada about 11 years. So it's definitely a very interesting journey, for sure, a challenging one. I'm very happy to be here today just to share some experiences I have, and hopefully will be able to help people who are in the similar journey as me. So a little bit about myself. I went to school, did a bachelor degree at the University of Alberta, chemical engineering. And right after I graduated, I joined a commercial laboratory who focus on the metallurgical testing and also metallurgical consulting services for the mining operations. So I worked there for a couple of years. Later on, I joined the oil sands industry. I joined oil sands site. It's in North Alberta. It's work as a facility engineer. It's a fly-in, fly-out job. So 14 days on site, 14 days off. Very interesting, challenging job. And during that, my main responsibility is to support day-to-day plant operation and make sure the plant is running smooth. We're reaching the production target, and also doing some continuous improvement to the process. And after that, I joined my current company, Metso. So we're known as a equipment supplier for the mining operations. We do pretty much everything's from from mine to mill, like crusher, grinding mill, flotation, secondary flotation, and also like digital products, everything. So my role now at my current company is process metallurgist. I support from the aftermarket side. So once the equipment's delivered to customer, my team kicks in. We help customer answering questions, and then from mechanical perspective and also process perspective. And so far, I've been in the company for about a year and a half, and definitely enjoy it.
That's so cool. Thank you so much for that introduction. So there we go. Just right off the bat, you and I have another thing in common because up until 2020, I was living in Alberta in Edmonton. So I'm quite familiar with the University of Alberta campus. I actually had a few projects there that I did. So we might have crossed paths somewhere.
Oh, great! Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't really enjoy the winter too much there, but
yeah.
But other than that, it was a really great time in Edmonton.
Yeah, in 2014, I was living in Edmonton. Anyway, so I guess young Chloe, before you decided you're going to do your undergraduate degree and all of that, what inspired or what interested that young version of you to come to Canada? Why was Canada why did you pick Canada? There's like coming from did you say you're coming from China? Did you mention that?
Yes, sorry, I should say that. I originally, I was born and raised in China. I came to Canada when I was 18, but before that, I lived in China for my entire life. I never really been abroad. So first time coming to Canada is actually my first foreign country experience.
Yeah, so young Chloe, 18-year-old Chloe, you've never been abroad. How did you pick Canada? Like, it's a big world, and like Canada and China are not close to each other. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Why did you pick Canada? What interested you about coming to Canada?
Definitely. So I like since I was kid, I like watching documentary about about different country around the world, and then I always envision myself in the future I will be living at the places I can be friends and also working together with people coming from all different backgrounds, from all different culture. And Canada is known for its how diverse the country is, how multi-cultural the country is, and welcoming to all different people, coming from all different backgrounds. So that's one of the reasons I picked Canada. And then the other reason is as I was a kid, I'm always interested in natural resources industry because I feel that's essentially the foundation of our like modern society. And Canada, there are so many natural resources here. There's forestry, there are oil sands, there are also metal mining, phosphate, all different types. So that's another reason I was drawn to Canada because I feel not only I can build like a career here, I can also like build my life here in Canada. And also Canada is a beautiful place, right? There are so many national parks around. Like currently I'm living in Vancouver, BC. So BC is beautiful. We have so many mountains around here, so many trails, hikes around in the region. So it's a great place to live.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I was not as insightful as you when I picked Canada, so I love to hear your answer.
Yeah, of course. Like, like as someone who are 18, it's not my decision alone, right? It needs to come the support coming from the family. So my family, they actually share a very similar vision as me. That's how we can make it work. It would be impossible to make all this happen without their support.
Absolutely. So I wanted to kind of pick back at something that you said as you're introducing yourself. And obviously you're just giving a brief summary of your journey and how you kind of progressed from, finishing your undergraduate degree until, now where you are. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you picked mining? Because it sounds like, there was a bit of a progression there when you started in the lab and then you did a couple of things and now you're here working for this company that supports the mining industry. Just can you tell us a little bit more about that journey? How did you pick the industry? And how you kind of got started and what that looks like. I'm pretty sure there's a few people that might not be in the industry yet that are aspiring to get in here or who want to pivot from what they're doing into this?
Yes, no, definitely. I feel
Yeah.
so. First of all, I know I wanted to work in the like natural resources industry since I was very young. I like I mentioned, I think is the foundation of our society. Like I'm a bit fascinated how the sector pretty much provides all the like raw material for pretty much all aspects of our modern society, starting from like infrastructure, transportation, electronics, and also like energy. So I know I will be in the natural resources sector for sure, but coming to mining industry is more like feel there's like invisible hand like pushing me and guiding me into this direction. Because I went to University of Alberta, and in Alberta, when we're talking about natural resources, like oil sands, that's pretty much what you will be talking about. It's such a huge contributor for the provincial economy. So during my undergrad, I was just naturally drawn to the oil sands mining industry, and I gained some exposure to it during my studies. And also, luckily, after I graduated, my very first job introduced me to the mineral processing side for metal mining, which is quite different compared to oil sands. And I was fascinated by the complexity and also diversity of mineral processing operations, because there are no single recipe uh, for any type of ore. If you're dealing like with a new site, a new ore type, there will be different mineral processing treatment. So I feel if I stay in this industry, I wouldn't be bored of my job because you're dealing with like new problems, new challenges all the time. And so that pretty much ultimately lead to my decision of staying and deciding picking the mining industry for my career.
Oh, that's cool. And I think I would definitely agree with that assessment of what you said. I've been asked that question in the past as well, about mining and why pick mining. And
Mhm.
I think you said it really well when you said there's so much there's so much variety, and so you'll never get bored because there's just always new problems and finding new ways to solve and so on, which is really cool. And you didn't even touch on like the innovation part where um, there's also so much opportunity still, I think, in the mining industry for innovation and so on. So I really like that answer. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So just kind of like coming a little bit away from your from talking career, just to talk a bit more, and this one I'm very curious on your answer because I feel like as someone who's a new Canadian, this is
Hmm.
something that I think a lot of people can relate to.
Hmm.
And it's always nice to hear other people's stories and just feel that kind of opportunity to relate to someone else's story.
Hmm.
Um, what would you say would be some of your biggest challenges when you first came to Canada? And when you first came to Canada, and maybe even if you could tell us a bit of, um, even after you'd been here for a while and you started your career,
Hmm.
what would you say were the big challenges that you faced and the culture shocks when you first arrived? Um,
Hmm.
and then if you could give some tips or uh, on how you overcame and what were some of the strategies that you employed to overcome some of those culture shocks and challenges.
Hmm. I would say when I first arrived to Canada, when I got here, I was 18, so very, very young. I've been living with my family for, the first 18 years of my life. So the biggest challenge for me coming to Canada at first, it would be it's emotionally difficult because you are physically so far away from your family and alone in a foreign country, and especially during some like holiday occasions it's inevitable for you to feel that sense of loneliness, especially if you've seen, some other of your friends here, they're gathering together with their family.
Yeah.
So so for me, I think I started to change. I started to feel better once I'm able to establish my own social circles, my own friends group here, because now it's not feeling like you're in a new country like alone, because you also have people here who are supporting you, like you're building your own social circles. So that really helped me a lot. When I just came here, I try to go to the community events as much as possible, because essentially people who they're all living in your same community. Yeah, definitely you will have it's close with each other. So if there are any events been planned in the future, it's easier for you guys to stay connected. And then I try to join school interest group, because usually when you're in school, people are like in the similar stage of their life. So commonly and naturally, you will have a lot of topics to share in common. And so in that regards, it helped me a lot to build connection here with the people in similar stage of their life.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's something I love how you connected that community piece. I found it's just maybe a few weeks ago now. I attended an event here in Saskatchewan, and that was a question that came up, and that's what someone said was like, hey, when you get to a new place, start figuring out who your village is. Start figuring out how to where you go, so you can find those people, community members that are going to be part of your village, your family away from home.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And then I also think some like community events, like sometimes if the event is only, for social purpose, people might feel not comfortable because you're just there, to talk with each other. But a lot of time the community they host events like for example, volleyball day, or or like those monthly let's say, I don't know, badminton or table tennis, or outdoor tennis events. Then it's becoming different, because you will have opportunity play sports with each other and you team up, so it make it easier to connect with people. So if you have hobbies in sports, I strongly encourage you to join some like a local community sports events. It helps a lot.
Yeah, well, that's really good advice. We have a question here from one of the attendees. It's kind of going back to the previous part of our conversation when we were talking about, when I was asking about 18-year-old Chloe, how do you pick Canada? So the person is asking what other countries you considered. So it says, what other countries did you consider when choosing where to go to school?
So when I was deciding between countries, I would mainly consider North America. So I'm just considering about US and also Canada. And then what made me end up deciding to come into Canada again? I just feel Canada gives me a more sense of inclusiveness, how respectful it is to all different type of culture and background, and also related to. It's also related to the like school offer I received. So when I went to U of A, I got an offering engineering degree, which resonate with my long-term career goal better. So that'll play a factor in my decision.
Okay, that's thank you for that answer. It's a good response. All right, I'm going to pick a new question. And the other question I wanted to ask, which you've kind of answered part of it, but it's kind of trying to dig into, it's a little bit, I mean, I think you've kind of answered it, but I'm just wondering if you'll answer this a little bit differently. What would you say is the best piece of advice that you received about moving to Canada? And what would you say for Chloe today would be your advice that you would give after having been here for over 10 years now? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think when I just came here, I think the best advice I received is to just be open-minded. It might sound very straightforward and easy to do, but surprisingly, sometimes it's not. I think when we say be open-minded, you just need to be really respecting people's like as an individual where they come from, their background. You need to respect their ways of doing things. Because even now, like when we're working together, people might have their own different preference in terms of way of doing things, and you need to just be open-minded, try your best to understand, because it could be related to part of their culture. And so for me, when I came to Canada, I think having that open mind really helped me to adapt more or like faster to the environment here, and it allowed me to like build meaningful connections with other people. And then if we're talking about the advice I would like to give out, for sure, be open-minded is one. The other one I would like to emphasize is be confidence. I remember when I first came to Canada, English wasn't my first language, and I was always hesitant. Like during the classes, if I have a question, should I raise my hand? Ask the professor. What if like they cannot understand me? Or when I try to like talk to someone, I always question myself, oh, what if my English is not great enough? I'm not able to make a good conversation with them. I would say, like looking back from now, I would tell the young version of me, just don't worry about it. Just do it and be confident. Like language, just a tool to use. At the end, is the person, is the you, like your personality, yourself. Yeah, like we'll be able to to help you to build that to make friends and then to do things. So I would encourage people to, if English is not your first language, please don't worry about it. Be confident to speak up. If you have a question, go ahead, ask if there's someone you want to reach out, talk to. Don't worry about language. Just go ahead and make the move.
Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. And I guess I would like to add a little bit to what you just said. From my personal experience, English is my first language.
Mhm.
But when I came here, I sounded much more, I think the accent that everyone easily recognizes, I sounded much more British. And so I used a lot of British words that
Mhm.
were not familiar in Canada. And the way that I would say certain words confused people. And what I'm saying is that even though English was my first language, I
Mhm.
still, and that was something that was a culture shock for me, was that people didn't understand me. Uh,
Mhm.
and I didn't have any excuse. I was like, this is the only language that I speak. And, and people still didn't understand me. They would always be like, what was that? Like, can you say that again? Can you spell
Mhm.
that for me? So language is something that, you're going to face just because people aren't used to hearing English in a way that's different to how it's spoken every day in Canada. And
Mhm.
it's an adjustment and it
Yeah,
does affect your
that
confidence.
for sure. And I think that's the amazing thing about Canada is we have people like from all different regions. Like for example, a lot of us, like for example myself, I speak with accent, but people understand and they try their best to
Yeah.
understand. Our end goal is to communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Like the language shouldn't be a barrier.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, you're right. It does affect your confidence. And when you just get over that and you realize it's a tool and it's okay if
Hmm.
people don't get you, just keep trying. And,
Exactly.
with time, people understand. And with time, even me, the way that I speak, it's changed. There's certain words that I don't use anymore. And there's certain ways that I used to say words that I don't say that way anymore, just to make it easier to communicate.
Hmm.
Thank you for bringing that up. That was a good one, actually. Right. So I guess my next thing is I'm sure in your time here,
Hmm.
you still have people who live abroad that you keep in touch with, or someone refers someone to you. I'm sure you get asked a lot of questions by other folks, perhaps uh, that are thinking about relocating to Canada.
Hmm.
Um, and I want to talk about opportunity here. What would you tell them about the opportunities that that Canada provides?
Yeah. So for me first, if people ask about me, I usually start with it's kind of a good place, to have life. So before jumping into actually talk about the opportunity or like
Yeah.
in career here, I always tell them Canada is a good place. Like I always feel like extremely welcoming here. The people I met so far, they are so friendly and helpful. So in terms of that regards, I encourage people if they're interested in Canada, they should give a shot. And then when it comes to the career or the working opportunities here in Canada, I would say I can't speak for any other industry, but I can just speak from what my observations in mining is. I think mining is a industry I see a lot of potentials. It's a massive industry already in Canada, yet it's still growing, especially with the increasing demand, in sustainability and critical minerals. So I do see the mining industry here in Canada. There are plenty of opportunities, and then for people, for example, like us, the new Canadians who are new immigrants, come with great professional skills, come with the talents. I think we're strongly valued here for the mining industry in Canada.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That I think a lot of folks, when you come here as a new Canadian, you're hungry and you're hard workers and you're
Hmm.
curious and all of those traits. And you have a different type of bravery like that. Um, for you to leave your country and come here and start a new life, it
Hmm.
really does something to you in how you grow as a person. And all of those traits are very helpful in mining. Um, just to have that confidence, that
Hmm.
curiosity, and general excitement for life.
Yeah, and also I feel like mining is in its transition. Like people think about mining, they think about, oh, it's a super old traditional industry, but the mining itself is evolving. We're going through like the digitalization
Mm-hmm.
transition phase. So
Yeah,
when it comes to like mining, it's not only mining engineers, mineral processing engineers, and many more. There's a lot of like other opportunities for other disciplines. So if you're
yeah,
study like let's say computer science, you study
yeah,
data science. There are also plenty of opportunities in the mining industry for those degree as well.
yeah. That's actually I love that you call that out because I like to call that out a lot as well. Is that mining is really we're in that digital transformation era, uh, and you know computer scientists and the data people in the data space. There's a lot of demand for that and opportunity that
Hmm.
a lot of people might not be thinking about mining when they go to study those things. Um, yeah, that's cool. So another question that I have for you, and before, I guess heads up to you, just when
Hmm.
we had a chat before we got on, it kind of sounded like, oh, um, maybe you'd answer this question or maybe you wouldn't. But I think I would like you to answer this question, or I'd like to hear from you on this question.
Hmm.
And part of it is that, um, you know, I really believe that representation matters. And for when we're kind of like looking at our, new Canadian community,
Hmm.
um, when we see other people doing the things that we want to do, it gives us courage. And
Hmm.
so I think this is true for people, things that other people are doing, and not just that, but things that other people are dreaming about.
Hmm.
Because it gives this opportunity for you to um, transform your dreams into new ideas that maybe you hadn't thought about. Okay. And
Hmm.
so that's the setup for the question.
Okay.
The question is, and you can tell us in whatever form you want, is what are your career aspirations? Like
Hmm.
today, you're here in the spot. Like, what are your career aspirations? What do you think is possible for Chloe in the future for the things that you can accomplish within the mining industry and the things that you'd be excited to get involved with, or what you'd like to do with your career? Some of
Hmm.
those aspirations, you could share some of that and give us ideas of what's possible and and stuff, and how we can drain
Yeah,
trees.
definitely. So for me, I'm a technical person. I like doing technical stuff. So for me, I always see myself I want myself become like a well-rounded process metallurgist, with extensive expertise in the like mineral processing field. And also as we just talk about, the digitalization transition phases, I want myself to get involved and part of it. I want to be the driving force for this integrating, the digitalization. We're embracing innovative technologies. I want to be a contributor for that and seeing it actually happening in our industry. So in that way, we can push it into a more sustainable industry. So when people talk about mining, they wouldn't think, oh, we damage the environment. They always think about
Yeah.
the negative part of us. But no, I want to be a contributor to pushing the industry, and then at the end we can give the society, let them know that hey, we are doing something green. We're trying our best to meet net zero for the planet in the future.
Okay, so we have another question. Thank you for that answer. Um, I really I love how in this whole conversation you keep talking about sustainability and how
Hmm.
you're passionate about making mining less of a dirty word, because right now there's a lot of, I guess, a branding or a impression, which I think the reputation we earned it as an industry in many years ago, maybe decades, but
Hmm.
there is a lot of work being done in the sustainability space, making mining more and more safe and more um, friendly to the environment.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's a big question
Okay.
that one of our attendees have asked, and it's so funny because they said to both of you, and I'm like,
Okay.
whoa, that was not part of the contract here. So I'll let you answer first, Chloe.
Okay.
If you could go back and change anything, what would it be?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's a big question. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Mm, let me think. I think uh change one thing. I think for the younger version of me is it's probably will be try to get involved into industry through like internship program as early as possible when I was in school. So when I was in school, I did a program without co-op. So because I was thinking, oh, I want to try to finish the degree
Yeah.
with the shortest amount of time so I can start working immediately. But the thing about doing internship during your studies, like undergrad or master study in Canada, it really helps you to understand the industry here. It helps you to understand, oh, what are the big companies here, what are their working culture, and also it help you to decide what direction you want to take in the future. So you like during internship usually they don't require you have previous experience. So you can pick the mineral processing intern, you can do the open pit mining intern, or you can do long-term or short-term planner. So you have a lot of opportunities to do. It's more like to do trials. So you can
Yeah.
test it around, see which route you like the most, and then you can pick one and then decide and stick to it, which is which I think to do that in your earlier career stage, which is during your study, is the best thing to do. Because once you graduate, come into the industry, apply to like a full-time position, a lot of time the position has a qualification requirement for you to have like for example maybe a little bit previous experience, and then so let's say your first job is mining, then you want to transition to mineral processing role. It might be more challenging. However, if you can do that like as through intern at your early phase, it really it's a lot easier for you to do and explore.
Yeah, I want to reiterate the importance of that, because I
Hmm.
am the opposite of you. Um, I did the co-op program, and through my undergrad, I actually ended up taking my program. I went to school in Newfoundland, and my
Hmm.
program did like 4 months of study, 4 months of co-op, and then
Hmm.
alternated that way. And at some point inside my degree time, I actually ended up taking a year off. just to go and work in industry. And I could not recommend it enough. Just the importance of that, going out and being able to taste and like you just said, trialing the different things that you can do and options that you have for a career. That it really, and it's not just that it helps you to try out different things. It also really just kind of teaches you a lot about the expectations of in the working world in Canada. Like if you're thinking about transitioning from wherever you were and where you are now, being in Canada rather, I think it helped me to, learn different things about the culture that I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I hadn't been in co-op. Just one funny story that happened for me as a co-op student, because I didn't, and at the time, I guess I didn't understand how Canadians talk. And so my boss came to me and said, "Hey, Sakai, if you have time," he either said, "If you have time or if you'd like to, could you please get this done?" Right? And so I didn't prioritize that work. I just, worked on my other things, tasks that I had. And then probably a couple of days later, he comes back and he's like, "Hey, did you get that done?" And I said, "Oh, no, I didn't have time, or I didn't prioritize it because it sounded like it was an option." And then he was kind enough to be like, "Okay, sorry, this is how we talk. I actually meant, can you do this?" Like, and I was like, "Oh, I thought you were giving me an optional task here, And it's just like a cultural thing where I'm from, if you want someone to do something, you just say, "Sakai, can you do this?" Or "I need you to do this." Canadians sometimes use softer language where, they say it in a polite way. And it was something that I'm so glad I learned. And I'm so glad that I had that boss that clued in that there was a cultural disconnect that was happening between the way he was communicating to me and how I was hearing him. Yeah, but that happened during my co-op days. So, that was a nice lesson that I got to learn. Not saying you can't learn it once you start work after university, but there are those little things that you get to learn about the culture that prepare you for post-graduation work experience.
No, definitely. That's also a great point. It's like a transition phase, right? It helps you to transit yourself into the working culture here in Canada. You understand like the phrase people are using. You understand what's like the dynamic within the working culture here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll answer that question. I forgot what it was. I've got to look it up again. Sorry. It was, if I could go back in time, what would I change anything? And I think what comes to mind right now is probably something that you mentioned today, Chloe, which was around getting involved. When I came and I did my undergrad, I didn't really, I was really just focused. I mean, I was self-financing my degree, and so I worked a lot. And engineering is demanding, so I was working and schooling, and that's pretty much it. And I didn't have much of a social life. In my mind, I told myself that socializing or getting involved in community was not like productive. Like it wasn't productive to my end goal of studying and finishing my studies. And I think if I was to go back in time, that's what I would change, is that I would have started, because now I'm pretty active as a volunteer in different places and I'm very involved in community. I would have started doing that sooner, because I didn't realize the value when I was in university days. The importance of that, being able to, I would have loved to get involved with things like Engineers Without Borders, and we had a bridge building team. I would have loved to, I'm a civil engineer. I would have loved to get involved with those things. But in my mind, I was just like, oh, that's extracurricular stuff that is not directly involved with my studies. Focus on your studies. And I definitely would have taken time earlier to get involved in community, volunteer more, participate in community events and things like that. I think it would have helped me be better rounded sooner. That would be my response to that question, what I would have done differently if I could go back in time. All right. That's kind of all the questions that I have. I don't think that I haven't gotten any new questions. Um, so I'll give you opportunity now, Chloe. Last words. If there's anything that you want to say that maybe we haven't touched on today, or something that you're just, thinking about that you'd like to share with everyone, or a message to the people, uh, inspiration, advice, um,
Mhm.
or just something that you want to tell us about your story that you think might be helpful to someone today.
Mhm. Mm, I'm gonna let me try to think about it. Uh, I think just from from me as first I want to just say thank you for having me here. It's
Yeah.
great to be here talking with you, Sakai, and thanks for audience for like the question you're throwing out. I like as a new Canadian, this is a topic I'm very much interested because when I first got to Canada, I you feel is it will be quite a journey. It's challenging. So I would always hope I can get connected with someone who are experiences can share the advices to us. So I hope the conversation today you find out insightful, or hope anything or story we shared it could inspire you. I think that will be very valuable to me. And again, for if I'm like for the last words here again, I just want to say we it's kind of repeating my previous opinion, but I really think it's so important that we need to be very confident about ourselves. If we see opportunity, don't please go ahead and chase the opportunity. Sometimes we might feel over not like we might not be fully qualified for the opportunity. There's maybe my language could be a barrier. I didn't have the maybe years of experience people are asking, but it doesn't hurt you to give it a try. So when I'm applying for jobs, I see the job posting, they list, oh, they need 5 years of experiences. But if I have three, I think it's a job I'm so interested. I see myself like, could totally capable for doing this job. I will apply, and for most of the time I will end up having chance of getting an interview. So for me, I just want to encourage like the young, the generation who are in the school or who are about to graduate from school. Uh, uh, if you see a good opportunity, good position, please go ahead and apply. And sometimes I would say trying some extra step wouldn't hurt as well. Sometimes if I see a job posting, I know who's the hiring manager. I try to reach out through LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
so a lot of time you might not get reply, but sometimes you will. Like you will have the luck, and they'll refer you to the HR, and you have a very much higher chance to get an interview. So I think those would be some of my advice to share.
Yeah. And just as you were talking there, Chloe, there's another really good question that came through. So I'm gonna pose that question to you as well. I think it's a really good one. Um, was it always your intent to stay in Canada after graduation, or were you planning on going back to China originally?
I've been always my plans always be staying in Canada because I do see a great career and life in Canada. I like the culture inclusiveness here, and I like the how big the natural resources is here. I like the working culture here in Canada as well. So at least for the next near future, for the next 5 or 10 years, I see myself still, staying in Canada, continues developing my career here. But after 10 years, it's very hard to say, because life is very dynamic. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot, I cannot say for a long time from now, but at least for the relatively short term, next 5 to 10 years, yes, I will be in Canada.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Chloe. I've really enjoyed this opportunity to talk to you, and thank you to all the folks that stuck around and listened to the conversation. I am the same. I will echo your words, Chloe. I really hope that this has been, helpful to folks who signed in today. And thank you, Melanie, for the initiative. I think it's just so wonderful to have these types of conversations, and yeah, just share it within our community, because I think this is a really big piece. A lot of new Canadians, and sometimes you do feel lost. So thank you for being generous with your time. Thank you for being generous with your story. I've enjoyed it, and I've learned from you today. And I'll hand it back over to you, Melanie.
Yes, so really quickly to close it out, first of all, thank you so much, Chloe, for participating and being our first in the speaker series. And thank you, Sakai, for moderating and bringing your point of view as well, also as a new Canadian. Thank you to all the audience for your great questions. As a reminder, we do have Anna Ivanova from Dundee Precious Metals tomorrow, and we have Joe Congo from Eldorado Gold on Friday. So continuing on with our speaker series. And this session is recorded, and we'll post it on YouTube and share it with you afterwards. And yeah, thank you all so much for participating. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. I know.